Don't back down when things get difficult. And don't believe the lie that when people say, well, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If the door opens easily, then it's for you. That's not true at all. And, everybody's faced with trials and different things in life. And most of the time, those are there to help develop us. There's a purpose for it. So if it's easy, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the way. It could be the absolute wrong way. So it's in that pressure, it's in that refining, it's in that work, it's in that uncomfortableness, that sweat, that it's, I tell people when they're working out, it's those final pushes, those final 2 pushes that you're literally tearing the muscle for it to grow bigger. You're tearing it. It's painful. It hurts. This is why when I know somebody's like training for a fitness show, man, that's tough, because the amount of discipline that you have to go all in that period of time and train and put your body through that. I mean, it's so, your mind and your body have to be so disciplined. You have to push yourself. It's incredible. It's easy to be lazy and fat. It's easy to consume. It's easy to just go with the flow. That's easy, and that's going to give you, most of the time, results you don't want. Eating whatever you want gives you a body you don't want. Watching whatever you want makes you feel anxious and frustrated. But when you do the hard things and you learn to love those hard things, that's where the growth is. That's when you realize, I would rather spend an hour in the gym instead of watching an hour of Gilmore Girls or whatever. Yeah, is one more relaxing than the other? Of course it is. But when you realize how you feel after, you always have to kind of look at, how do you feel after you get done doing something? And let's say you're drinking, or you're alcoholic, or you just like to party. How do you feel afterward? So let that be the indicator of the behavior and what you're actually doing, because how you feel after, remember that. After you do something that you shouldn't do, you feel like junk, you feel like crap. Well, hold on to that, because the next time you want to do it, you're going to be like, well, I don't really want to feel that way again. I don't want the results from that again. So this is why after you get done working out, or after you get done doing something that is purposeful and pleasing, you feel good. The aftermath of that feels good, and that's what pushes you forward to do it again and again. And you have to be at that level, and you're not going to be there all the time. Sometimes your body does need a rest. You have to give it the rest. I'm not talking about crunch all the time, go all the time, push yourself hardcore, like beast mode. You don't have to live in the aggressive fast lane all the time. That's not healthy. Your body needs the rhythm of certain seasons. So it's about knowing that rhythm, when there's a time to pull back and when there's a time to go all in. And when you make the decision to go all in, be all there. Do it to the best. Like, do everything with 100% in excellence, the best you can. Go all in. And that's the difference, I think, with hot and cold and people being lukewarm, is they're kind of in. They're halfway, they're a little bit, they don't get the results. And I know there's this big, huge, argument of, well, if you can just do a little at a time, then do that. But that's going to take you a really long time. I am all in or all out. Like, that's just what I've developed in my personality. I like to be all in or all out in specific things. Now, there's times where you're maintaining, for example, you're not going to, by being all in, that doesn't mean you're, like I said, you're pushing yourself all the time hardcore. Being all in could be intentionally taking that time of rest. That still counts as being all in. Well, let's say fitness. You work out 3 days or 4 days and you take rest days. So you're still all in, intentionally taking that rest. So the difference is that the people that don't push themselves, you'll see them, well, they work out, they do this healthy lifestyle, but there's no change. Like, they look the same, they act the same, same thing with life. They could be doing, I know people who they go to church their whole life, but there's no change in their life. There's no big, transformation. You see a lot of people that attend church day, every week or whatever. It's a habit. It's something that they do, and they are not living victorious lives. They struggle with sin. Like we all do, but they're deep into it and they're not really awakened to, wow, this isn't transforming me. I mean, I went to a church that way for years and I was like, yeah, you feel good. It sounds good. The music's good. The prayer's good. Like it sounds good. It feels good, but there was no move of the Holy Spirit. There was no transformation. There was no encounter. And that's what keeps you going, because you're like, oh, it feels good. I'm doing something good. But there was no real transformation. There was no encounter. Most of the transformations that I had spiritually were not at church. They were at home. They were in a quiet time with me and God. And that's when I experienced him the most, was with no one else around, or just in moments in my own environment, moments of doing what I love, feeling his presence when I was decorating for Christmas, or I used to paint and I just felt that move, that encounter. It's about an encounter to have a transformation in your life, not just a feel-good, watered-down message that makes you feel good and then you keep going and then you feel guilty if you don't go because you've been going so long. And that's what would happen, is we would go and then we'd miss a day and people would be like, are you okay? I just didn't go today, And so it got to be like this religious to-do. And your walk with Jesus is anything but religious. It is a free flowing walk, a relationship. It's personal. It's different for everybody because your life is different and because the purpose that he has for you is different. So where he wants you could be different than where he wants that other person. For me, I always knew it was outside of the walls of the church. I'm better going out into the world to make disciples. I'm better at being out than being in. I felt like I was being prisoned when I was in. Now, that's not everybody. Some people like that. And they like to be plugged in. Let's get you plugged in. And be involved and volunteer and spend their time. But that just wasn't me. And so for a long time, I felt guilty of it. Like, oh, well, I'm not a good enough Christian because I'm not wanting to go, or I'm not, And God's like, Jesus is like, I didn't ask you to do that. I asked you to walk with me. I asked you to live for me. I asked you to trust me. There's a big difference there. And so I really enjoy just tapping into what he has for me and not caring what anybody else thinks. You have to have a sense of discipline at times to get the results that you want in a shorter period of time. So something that could have taken you a year, your old way of doing it, now takes you 60 days. For me, I prefer that because I want to get things done quicker. This is why multiplying, Jesus talked a lot about multiplying, and not adding, because multiplying's quicker. You're getting to the results quicker. Sometimes you have to take the long way, or he's going to put you through that long way because you're learning something so you don't hurt yourself, so you're going through the process. It takes time. You don't want to rush per se to get something done when you're missing the whole point. Like, well, let me read this whole book so quick, but I didn't learn anything. No, you got to let it, marinate in a little bit and do the work. But what I'm saying is, if you read one sentence of a book a day, it'll take you a lot longer to read that book than if you read a chapter a day. And if your mind can retain the information of a chapter, then do that. Because you're going to complete whatever it is you're working on quicker, learn, and move on from it quicker. So that way you're not staying in something, you're not dragging things out when you should be done. There's a time to be like, okay, well, let's get going. Let's get the ship moving. If you're going to declutter your house and you do it one little pencil at a time, it's going to take you a long time. You just get it done. Like go through those drawers and say, do I need 500 pre-sharpened pencils that I bought in a box from Amazon? Well, probably not, So you just have to get through it quicker to then move on to the next task. And when you do that, those little wins are going to be motivating. And those wins that are motivating is what propels you forward. It pushes you to do better, or to do more, and to really accomplish more. I mean, I know people who are still dealing with things from years ago. Like, get it over with already. What are you still talking about the same thing from 5 years ago? You don't live there anymore. You're not there anymore. You're not that age anymore. You're not in that childhood trauma anymore. Quit bringing it up. Quit talking about it. Quit living there. Quit quit listening to the same songs that you cried to when you broke up with so-and-so. Like, move on from that and step into a new season and discipline yourself to do the work that needs to get done so you can become your fullest, so you can enter into the fullest. Sometime the flower needs to bloom to its fullest. The fruit needs to get to its fullest. There's a period of time. Get yourself to that fullness, because then you're going to be like, wow, I've been missing that. This whole time I could have had this, or I could have felt like this. I could have felt this great. You wake up, you're like, I didn't know I could feel this great every day. I didn't know I could sleep this good. I didn't know I could laugh. I didn't know I could look like I do. I didn't know my skin could clear up, or my hair could grow, or I didn't know that my body could naturally heal itself. I didn't, all these things. I didn't know my joint pain could go away by losing some weight. So there's all these things that are freeing. It's freedom in those areas by just doing the work that needs to be done. You have to want it bad enough, though. You have to want the results and the freedom more than you want the comfort in the latte, or the Netflix show, or the stuff, or the comfortableness, That's just my perspective on the ones who really want to achieve more. We're heading through the last quarter of 2025, and you start now, you'll be way ahead by the first of the year. You could really start the year. You could transform your life in 90 days. You could literally change your whole life, from where you live to what you eat, how you look, your friends, all of it. You can rewire a lot of your habits. You can change so many things in 90 days if you were to push and do what you got to do for that time period. People won't even recognize you. You would be like, wow, all these things that I dreamed I could never be or have, I now am living. And that's it's a beautiful thing. I wake up every day and I'm literally living in what I desired for so long. And all it took was for me to wake up, snap out of it, really snap out of my slumber, quit engaging in lower things, running in and out of Target, Home Goods, and Walmart, and finding all this junk, getting out of gossip circles, putting up boundaries. Like, it took decluttering life to now I wake up. And is everything perfect? No, it's not. There's things that I still am working on, and we're still improving on, and everything's not exactly, but it's so beautiful. And every day I'm just in awe. Like today, I just looked around our apartment and I thought, this is beautiful. I love this place. And we're in a 1,350 square foot 2-bedroom right now with 5 people. Okay, so it would seem that it's tight, but it's actually spacious. And I'm walking around this morning and I'm thinking, I can't believe how big this feels. It doesn't have the taller ceilings like our old apartment had. It doesn't have the extra bedroom and the bigger space. It's not huge. It doesn't have a lot of storage, but it feels big, yet cozy, comfortable, simplified, modern, elevated. Like, everything that I want is there. My favorite people. We eat healthy. The place is beautiful. Like, it's just, now, would a larger one be better at this point? Sure. But the point is that I'm literally living in everything that I prayed for. I wanted mountain views. My husband wanted mountain views. I wanted nature. So here I am on a walking path on a rooftop with mountain views, surrounded by greenery and flowers in a beautiful location. It's like, God, when you step out and when you stop compromising and you stop living and trying to handle things in this lower area, and you actually say, okay, this is it. I mean business. I'm all in, God. Like, let's do this. He will plant you where your heart's desire is to be. You got to do the work, though. You're the hands and feet. You better get to work. But gosh, he will open up those doors. And I'm just in awe every day of how his grace has carried us through so many hard seasons, even being here, really difficult seasons that I don't talk about. But I'm so grateful, and I just feel so honored and humbled to be a vessel and to be doing what God wants me to do. It's just beautiful. So why wouldn't I get out and walk? Why would I spend 1 minute complaining about what I don't have? 1 minute, this and that. No, it's like, just look around you. Just look up. Have some joy and peace. And then get to work. You got to do the work. It's not going to do itself.